Sorry, fixed. God dang it, I forgot to unmute myself again. Thanks, Stargoods. I said at first, I didn't know he was going with somebody, but then when he turned later, it was kind of like ghosty, as I was like, oh, he's going with somebody, but not actually with somebody. Whether it's a psychological memory or a ghost or something. Not sure. So the nice thing is, it's like, in many ways, Scratches. There I was after all those years at the threshold of a nightmarish place. I'd never thought I'd have the courage to return. In many ways, it's like Scratches where you can rotate around, but you use, it's point and click in the sense of you use like these to examine or move or whatever. A gloomy forest bordered the grounds of the Institute, conferring a pronounced sense of isolation. Oh, escape to open the record book? Okay. Hanwell Mental Institution. Patient record. June 21st, 2020. And then, of course, you can load, save. Are there any settings I want to adjust? Probably not. It seems fine. Visual acuity? So, let me look at the game world and see how that adjusts. We'll do high, that's fine. Light sensitivity? Cataract? That's terrible. And then photophobia? Ooh. Okay, so this is brightness. So this is brightness, and this isn't gamma. I guess this is like detail. Speed of reflexes. Visuals. Auditory perception. Okay, so music, sound, speech seemed fine to me. Require subtitles. So in the final game, I assume this will be available, but it's not available right now. I would do subtitles. Apparently, I can't currently in the demo. So I apologize for anybody who normally prefers to see subtitles. Doesn't look like it's an option right now. What is that? Abnormal. Oh, abnormal eye floaters. Visual snow syndrome. Interesting. Anyway, okay, so this is basically these are your settings. Okay. There's a sort of unnatural calm surrounding the area. It wasn't helping boost my confidence at all. The Institute was every bit as loathsome as I remembered. Yeah. So if you don't know like anything about the background of this game, it's not a lot, not like a ton, but the idea is you've been here before, years ago, and then you've returned. I've been toying with the idea for a while, but only that day had I woken up with a peculiar, something of Hanwell. I was talking, so I missed the last bit. What a strange rock formation. Beautiful, yet somehow disquieting. I think, of course, I had a strong reason to return, but the circumstances were oddly dreamlike, as if I wasn't in control of my own actions. I feel like some people will have different reading speeds, so I think maybe adding 1 second to the length that those subtitles or whatever stay on screen would be helpful. I'm basically, as long as I'm not talking until I don't get time to finish reading something. Otherwise, though, it seems like I'm reading about the right speed, so it's not a problem for me. But I wonder if some players might read a little more slowly. It might be a little bit better if it stays on longer, or maybe if that's an option, you can control how long it stays. Of course, within limits. You wouldn't want to stay for the whole game or something, but But I think if you just added 1 second, that would probably be helpful too. Why was I doing this? I needed to know what happened to me. I'd rather face the dire truth than live in blissful oblivion. Alright. So I guess, let's go inside. Is that a knock on the door? I felt like I realized I didn't have my notepad. My memory was failing me, so keeping notes would be a necessity. Oh. I was ready to go in, but I really needed to bring my notepad with me. Oh, I see. Ah, okay. Must be in my car, I assume. There we go. So just like in the first game, in Scratches, you have your car you need to get things from too as well. As I grabbed the notepad, I was struck by a sense of confidence I hadn't expected. I felt ready to tackle the mysteries of that looming structure. No signal. Shame. I could have used some company. Hello? Hello? Okay, let's see. So that's gonna go away, go out of the car. Anything else in the car? Cannot open the glove box, looks like, in this case. I was decidedly nervous, but I didn't feel like running away anymore. So I guess we won't be driving. Currently, at some point, if we, assuming we are actually able to survive the ordeal and escape, then I guess we'll at some point drive, but currently no. Alright. I thought about going inside quickly before changing my mind. My car was far more welcoming than this house of horrors. Right-click to open your journal. Enter the Institute. Hopefully, I would find the answers I needed inside the Hanwell Mental Institute. That's tasks. Looks like there will be maybe other tabs you could select, flip to other pages and other notes or whatever. Okay. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Oh, I do also like this, by the way. When you got this open, you can't move your pencil beyond the borders. So if it sounds like there's never going to be a need to have this open while doing something else, so that's useful. So you just stay within this. You don't like you get your mouse pointer accidentally way off screen or something. That's useful. I think that's nice. That's a good feature. I like that. I like that, yeah. Soon the entire area would be drenched in darkness. I would be safer inside, all things considered. Here we go. 8 p.m. Hello! How are you? Welcome to the Hanwell Mental Institute. What can I do for you? Well, this is strange. I thought the building was abandoned. As you can see, that's no longer the case. My name is Julia, and I'm the receptionist for the Institute. Why are you here? This is an uncomfortable situation. I was hoping to explore the building. Oh, but you thought it was abandoned. Indeed, that's why I supposed nobody would mind. We certainly do mind. The Institute was never abandoned, just closed to the public until recently. And still, abandoned or not, it's not like just anyone can walk inside. You do realize that. This caught me completely by surprise. I'm not sure what to say. Try explaining yourself. Why did you want to see the building? The situation is hard for me to explain. This isn't my first time here. Oh, I'm new myself. This is my first night here. So you used to work for the Institute? No, not really. Well, I'm not sure what I can help you with then. Why are you here? It's a good question. Why I'm here. You're not inspiring much confidence. Should I call security? Please, no, that won't be necessary, I promise. I'll explain myself, just give me a moment. Sorry for being touchy, but I have doubts about a complete stranger visiting a mental hospital at night. It wouldn't be responsible to let you in. There's a reason why I'm acquainted with this place, you know. Oh, I've been curious since you showed up in the first place. Alright, here goes. I was once admitted as a patient to this hospital. Oh. Don't worry, it was nothing serious, just a short stay. I'm not crazy. Well, you don't sound like a lunatic to me. I'll give you that. I still don't see why you want to visit the building. Is there anything troubling you? Like why you were here? Reasons for commitment? Okay. So this isn't a subject like I like to talk about. It was a traumatic period in my life, and it hurts to even think about it. They called it acute stress reaction, which led to more problematic episode. I committed myself voluntarily. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's understandable you don't want to think about it, though. But isn't this counterproductive, then, being here again? On the contrary, you could say I need to make amends, face my past. So you're the receptionist here? Yes, this is my first night. I do a bit of everything right now. The Institute is operating with minimal staff until renovations are complete. I'll get back to explaining what I must do here. I just need to find the right words. That's fine by me. We have all night. Uh, I don't have all night. Your problem, not mine. Still trying to figure out how to explain my situation. Take your time. Okay, so that's not actually going to do anything? Remembering my past, maybe? The truth is, I'm having these peculiar nightmares. I believe something happened to me that won't let me be at peace. Something? I feel you've been intentionally vague since you entered that door. Honestly, I remember little from that time in my life, but I was fine for a long time, many years even, until suddenly my dreams pulled me back. I've been thinking about this institute for the past several weeks. Today I realized I needed to come here one more time. It's a compelling story. I'm intrigued. Although I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish here. How would this help your situation? The last thing I expected was to find people here tonight. I assumed the institute had shut down indefinitely. Not indefinitely. It's true that it ceased to operate for a few years, but we're in the process of reopening. The structure is still usable, and the overcrowding of hospitals in the region has compelled authorities to reconsider this place. So, let me get this straight. The entire institute is being reopened. Yes. Patients from smaller hospitals in the region are being relocated here, and heavier renovations will start tomorrow. It's rather empty, though. Tonight it's just me, security, Dr. Miller, and a few patients in the building. Still, it's good to see it's breathing new life. You mentioned patients are being relocated. Correct. There are hardly any people here tonight. However, I have a fleet of workers arriving first thing tomorrow morning. I understand the plan is to have the Institute operating at full capacity in 10 days. That's ambitious, given the state of the building. It looks worse than it really is, you know. Who's Dr. Miller? He's the current director of the Institute, and he's overseeing the entire reopening process. I thought Hanwell was the director. That was a long time ago. Is it okay if I go in now? I don't know. I'm sorry, I really can't. You still won't trust me? It's... You look alright to me, but I still don't understand why you want to see the Institute. It's been bothering me for weeks, this feeling that I need to do or understand something, almost as if I forgot to do something here. We all feel a bit like that sometimes. Did you try going to therapy? No, it's not like that. I simply know that I have to be here, just not why. About my past. Yes, I still don't understand what you expect to do here. If I could just get a feel of this place again, I'm sure I could leave my past behind. Recognizing it will help me understand what happened to me. And then hopefully your nightmares will go away. That's the plan, at least. Okay, I trust you. So there are more people here, patients too. Yes, although we're operating with a greatly reduced staff. The building is far from ready, as you can see, so mostly low-risk patients have been admitted. In this state? I don't understand. It could use some cleaning, I won't deny that, and I'm freezing to death without those radiators working, but you can rest assured it can hold a few patients. But where are all the workers? I don't see any ongoing construction or renovations. It's nighttime. People usually don't work at night, except staff in charge of critical tasks. Such as you. Absolutely. The Institute couldn't possibly work without me giving warm welcomes to strangers in the night. Something tells me I'm annoying you. Not really. It's nice to have some company right now. Alright, so now you know everything. Will you let me in? Well, it's a highly unusual situation, but I care about your story. It's not like you can cause much trouble, and if you do, Brewer will have a not-so-friendly talk with you. Are you positive this won't be counterproductive to your health? Yes, I feel better than ever. I just need to take a look around and try to remember what it was like to be a patient at the Institute. And you will take full responsibility for your safety. I assume all the risks. Let's talk rules then. You must leave before dawn. Workers are arriving early and they will turn the place upside down. And steer clear of the upper floors. The doors are locked anyway. Do we have an agreement? Yes, we do. Thank you so much, Julia. You have no idea what this means to me. Very well. Go ahead, feel free to take a walk inside. I hope you find what you're looking for. Me too. Something tells me this is my last chance before the Institute I knew ceases to be. It will be a different place in the morning, that's for sure. Right click to close conversation. I'll be going. Is that just re-enter conversation? Back so soon. What can I do for you? Alright, I'm done for now. Bye. Okay, I thought I was gonna examine her or something, but I guess that's to talk with her. I guess that is a picture of a microphone. Super old school, but a microphone in the hand. So that would be speech, not... This is definitely a little bit different from Scratch, as in that you at least have an NPC at the desk to greet you, whereas you had no such thing in the other game, right? You did have people you call on the telephone, but you didn't have anybody with you going through the house or anything, so... Alright. Not allowed to go upstairs, she says. So let's just go one of these sides, I guess. And like in scratches, you have the ability to examine paintings more closely. Oh, and seats. Were they planning to reopen the Institute under these conditions? Unbelievable. No one cared enough to have emptied the trash cans yet. The radiators were not working, and it showed. The cold there was glacial. Poor Julia. I don't know if I should say my suspicion. Hey, Patak. Nope, not much. So basically, real quick summary. I'll take those off so the music from the game doesn't distract me. So basically, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot. So I closed Discord while I stream so that it won't interrupt me, and then I forgot to restart it last night afterwards. Sorry. So I didn't even see it. So out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. So the summary so far, we haven't done very much. Okay. Summary so far, we apparently were once upon a time here at the Institute. We had some kind of a traumatic experience, so we checked ourselves into the Institute in the past for a short stay just to work through those problems, and then we left. It's been years since. We think we've been fine, like things seem to have been fine in life. And then recently we started having, hey Fofox, welcome. Oh, okay, well that's fine. Okay, that's good though that you were able to make it now. Welcome back, Fofox. Okay, so for those who are just getting on, since there are a couple of you now that just jumped on, let me kind of briefly summarize what's happened so far. Okay, so we apparently years ago had a traumatic experience of some kind. We didn't describe it really, but we had some kind of traumatic experience. It troubled us, so we had checked ourselves into the Hanwell Mental Institute voluntarily to work through that trauma. It was a short stay. We got out because it was voluntary. We could just leave when we wanted to, so we left. We were back out in the world, and we seemed to have worked through the trauma. We went about life, and everything seemed fine. This is now years later. I'm not sure how many years later, but at least several years later. In the meantime, after we had left, that this Hanwell Mental Institute had seemed to shut down temporarily. However, there's a receptionist over here, Julia, we just talked to right here, who informed us that it had not fully shut down. It had just temporarily closed while they renovated and whatever the building. Okay, so there were other hospitals around who took some of the mental patients, but the hospitals recently have become overworked with mental patients, something along those lines, and so this institute of necessity is reopening. So they've have construction workers coming in the morning to continue finishing working on renovations for the institute. We've come back because recently we've started having kind of flashes of visions or flashes and or visions of that relate to that earlier trauma. We're not sure what, we don't remember anymore, so we're not sure what all we did when we were here in the Institute the first time. But we feel like we have this kind of, sixth sense. Not exactly. It's not sixth sense. We have this inkling or this idea that if we come back to the Institute and learn specifics about what we did while we were here, we might somehow be able to get these kind of resurfaced memories to be resolved and things will go away. Now, the opening cinematic, as we were on our way here, well, first of all, everything is set like this seems, I'm not saying this is the time frame, I don't know, but visually it appears like the time frame is probably at the latest very early 1980s, probably more like maybe mid 1970s. The fonts and everything used were kind of that style, but there was kind of old school, like mention about a VCR, of course, and stuff like that. But there was kind of old school grainy footage and stuff. Anyway, so I think this is probably, well, somewhere between, I would guess, somewhere between, when we'll learn, I'm sure specifically, I would guess, though, somewhere between 1975 and about 1983, maybe? Somewhere in that. It's supposed to be set in the United States of America, I believe, but I don't know if the actual location itself is a real place. I feel like it's a fictional spot, but somewhere in the United States. I think. I don't know for sure, but I think so. Now, for Julia's kind of accent, I did sort of like a upper crust society accent from kind of the New England area. So a little bit of this very enunciated and very refined speech, but not British. So it was definitely or American, okay? Anyway, I don't know where this is set. I feel like this is probably set somewhere back east, though, like on the East Coast, but I don't know for sure. It feels like that kind of environment, though, coming here. Anyway, we have this notebook we can use to look through different things. So we're remembering our past. That's a task. We have to remember some stuff from the past. This building's not abandoned. We thought it was. It had just shut down for the renovations, apparently. So it's not abandoned, apparently. My condition, we're not sure about, right? I have these flashes from earlier time in life that I don't remember exactly. Patients are being relocated in the morning. There are a few patients here already in the Institute. Some are being relocated in the morning from hospitals close by to here. And then the people we know of, Julie is the receptionist. Dr. Miller, she told us about these people. Dr. Miller is the head of the Institute now. It's no longer Dr. Hanwell. Dr. Hanwell had been the head of the Institute when I was here, or when we were here before. And then Bruno, I think, is like head of security / head, what do they call him? Not nurse. He might do some nursing things, but whatever. The guys with the white pants and shirts and stuff that help kind of secure patients if they get violent and stuff. So kind of like security, but kind of like also know some of the doctoring or some of the nursing things they could do to help out. UK population in the USA. Kappa Kappa. Okay, so anyway, so that's kind of where we are. Oh yeah, so on the way in the opening cinematic also, as we were driving, good, because this is a horror themed anyway. So as we were driving here, we turned, it was an opening cinematic, okay? We turned to the right and looked in the passenger seat, and there was a woman there. And I was like, wait, I didn't realize we were coming here with somebody, so that's weird. A little bit later into the drive, we turn again to the side. We see the same woman, except she's like all gray and withered looking, and she kind of looks ghostly. So I feel like maybe that woman, whoever she is, to us, was somebody in the past somehow related to that trauma that we went through. Maybe. But she might also be somebody related to our time in this institute in the past that we're not remembering. So it's hard to say what that is, but she's a thing. Some ghost from our past of some kind. Oh, why are the lights on? Oh, good call. I don't know. I didn't really have the lights off during Scratch because it was a point and click, but yeah, we can do that. That's fine. No worries. We'll do the lights off. I ain't scared. Let me find my little glow on my face so you can see me better while I have the lights off. All right. Oh, that's kind of angled. There we go. There we go. You can see me now, right? Yeah, okay. Let's do that. All right. Anyway, so that's where we are. Then we just basically got out of the car. We came in here. We've had a conversation with Julia, and now I'm looking around. Basically, I've like literally from there come here. I looked at this painting and these chairs. That's like all we've done. Except for the conversation with Julia, where we learned about some of the people in the Institute and that the Institute was reopening after renovations, that kind of stuff. So, nobody emptied the trash. Oh, yeah, the radiators are not working right now. So, she said it was freezing. So, yeah, it's cold, which is going to very probably at some point play into the theme of the game or whatever, the ambiance / what's actually happening in the game. We have lichen scratches where you could zoom in on these pictures. Okay. Oh, a little bit of tearing. Can I adjust? That's not what I want. Can I adjust settings? I don't really have any VSync, so I don't know if I'm going to really be able to take care of the tearing. Well, looks like at least for now, we'll have a little bit of tearing. Is it bad on... Oh, it looks okay on stream. It's just on my main monitor where I'm playing, I'm seeing some tearing. I don't notice it on the screen, though, on the stream. Yeah. Well, and in no way do I mean this as way of complaint. I'm actually really super excited to be playing Asylum, the demo right now. But were we not doing this, I would be doing Close to the Sun, which is also horror. So either way, we were going to be doing horror today. Yeah, exactly. The 2012-13 footage or whatever you saw would have been very, very, very early models and stuff for things. I also saw at one point there were some session tapes where you had what were supposed to be patients that had been interviewed or gone through therapy sessions with doctors and some of the things that they described and stuff. So yeah, it's got the nice horror feel, right? Robin. Why does that sound familiar, but I can't think of it? Who was Robin? Remind me who Robin was again. I totally recognize that, and I don't remember. That's from a recent game, and I don't remember what that's from now. Well, that's poopy. I should know. Alright, let's go back here. So there's Julia. She's a nice lady. She said we're not allowed to go upstairs, though. So this is a no-no. Yeah, I was going to go examine this. I don't know if there's anything to examine over here, but... Obviously, we could try to go in the door, but let's not yet. Oh, right. Robin was the son. Yeah, right. Yeah, he was in it so little, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. That was the Robin's kid. The Robin was the kid's name, yeah. Yeah, the demo is free. Demo's completely free. You just go to the... It's not a separate page, though. In Steam, you just go to Asylum, and there'll be a button for play the demo or whatever. Just click that, and then it'll install it on your computer. It doesn't take much space, I don't believe, and then once it's installed, then you can start playing the demo. Well, by the name, right? That just by the name. I didn't forget the baby. I just forgot the name. Also, I didn't know you were referring to scratches when you're talking about that. I don't remember you mentioning scratches before, so I was trying to cycle through several of the different games I've recently played, and I was like, wait, which one? Yeah. Okay, well, I could either enter or go this way. Let's just go this way. For now, at least. See there, or let's... This is a side room. Let's go in the side room first, then we'll go further down the hall here. I don't know if there's anything I can really examine over here that I haven't already looked at, but we can see. Hey, Julia, what happens if I sneak up on you? Julia's desk was sufficiently tidy, at least when compared with its surroundings. Yeah, there, I guess, will be voices in the final version of the game, but in the demo, there aren't voices right now. Oh, I mentioned scratches, right? And so you made the connection. And of course, my brain went right while you stayed straight, and so I wasn't making the connection, yeah. Yeah, so there will be some voice, it sounds like there will be some voice acting in the final game, but there's just not right now in the demo. Probably one of the later things they would want to bring into the game anyway, right? They could just even have a placeholder that's just no sound, like it's no sound you could hear. Like there's no actual sound, but there's an MP3 file of just no sound for like 5 seconds or something. They could use something like that as a placeholder over and over again, and then when they actually do the voice acting, they could just replace the command of what the name of the file is, or they could even have the file named already, but just have the actual file empty, and then when they get the actual voice work in, they replace the empty files with actual voice. So they could put all the programming except for the actual voice recording itself into the game if they want to at this point, and then just wait for that. So it's not surprising. Maybe my point is that it's not surprising they don't have voice acting right now, because it would be super easy to insert in. It really would be very simple, very much. Potentially could be a very simple thing to do. An old but elegant grandfather clock, which unfortunately was no longer working. You know what song I have to sing now? My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was larger by far than the old man himself, though it weighed not a penny weight more. It was built on the morn of the day that he was born. It was always his pleasure and pride. Visitors would spend their time in this waiting room until their turn came. But it stopped short, never to run again, when the old man died. Alright, let's see what there is on here. I guess we only analyze certain things. Some of these flyers, I guess, are not important. This one, okay, opening of West Infirmary, 1878. Hello, son. I'm Dr. Hanwell. I'm here to creep everyone out. Welcome to my creepy-ass institute. I don't know if this will end up being important. I'll take note of 10, like 12 as the time in the photo. Electrotonic therapy for mental illness. Longer life for people past 40. Yeah, see, this crap. This is what they use. This is why institutes were shut down in the United States. And once upon a time, they were a common thing, and it was not a big deal. But then I think it may have only been one institute even, but there were very few institutes, at least, that did this type of crap where they were actually hurting people. But there were some where they would experiment on people, and word got out, and obviously the public had a big uproar, and so all the institutes got shut down as a result. I think it's a big mistake. I do think they should have taken care of the people who are doing bad stuff, but you don't shut down all the institutes because 1 or 2 institutes are pulling crap like that. You go in and you handle those 1 or 2 institutes. You fire everybody who's involved, hire new people, and then you basically probably regularly have follow-up visits by the authorities to make sure the authorities slash social workers to make sure that you're not mistreating the patients, right? Reasons for admission, 1864 to 1889. Intemperance and business trouble? You get admitted because you're having business trouble? Okay. Seems odd. But I mean, I'm actually assuming these are legitimate reasons that were logged back in actual institutes around that time period. Imprisonment, immoral life. Immoral life was one they used to do long ago. That obviously I disagree with. Anyway, jealousy and religion. Jealousy and religion? Like you have double the affliction or something? What? Okay. Laziness, marriage of a son, etc. Women trouble. Egotism. Nice. Okay, anyway. So there are several reasons to admit them. None of them being good, from what I can tell. Yeah. Well, the thing is, in fairness, you can honestly find decent voice actors all over the place. The question is whether you can afford what certain voice actors are going to charge you, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they would have people who had maybe a small mental issue and they would needed it worked out, and they would do crap to them and make them tons worse mentally. Yeah. But again, I do think that those were the exceptions, not the rule. I do think most of the time the institutions were good. Well, I mean, with our understanding of how the mind worked and stuff, of course. It was within reason, because you'd have some people, back in the 19th century, I would assume that there was a lot about the mind we didn't understand. But most of the institutes tried to do the best they could, right? There were just some places where they would experiment on people and stuff, which morally is wrong. You don't just start randomly doing stuff because what if this helps people? Yeah, and what if it fries their brain, you weirdo? Okay, so it looks like 10, or not 10, 12 after was the time. Let's go back out here and see if the clock happens to be stopped on that same time. May not be, but basically, so the hand's kind of in the way, but if you look behind the interaction icon on the clock, the hour hand is on the 10. So I'm kind of using this like light white bubble, mostly see-through bubble here, but the hour hand is on the 10. And I believe this is the minute hand. See, the minute hand is between 05 or 5 and 10, about 7.5. That other clock was small enough. Maybe it was not 10, 12. Maybe it was like 07. So it looks like those two, I'm going to call it as if it's the same time. So it looks like those two clocks, or those two timekeeping pieces, timekeepers, whatever, are showing the same time. So something happened at maybe 7 after 10. There was a series of uninteresting magazines on the table, dated too. Magazines would have crumbled upon my sliced touch anyway. I not apparently go back to that back side of the room there? Okay. Let's go that. Yeah, it's not going to let me go back there. I guess I can analyze the chairs. Uninviting chairs also surround the waiting room. I guess that's it in here right now. So, I can go through that door, or before we go through doors, let's examine the open areas first. Gated at the far end. I'm not sure if there's something beyond or not. I began to remember the layout of the building. This was the administrative area with offices for a few key staff members. I guess all of this is administration of some kind. Archives, meeting room, visiting room, and WC. Oh, so this must be Europe. WC. It shouldn't say WC if it's America. We don't use WC. We'd say restroom, or yeah, we'd say restroom. Yeah, the track's good, right? Well, it's just like so in the original Scratches game. Okay, you had Augustin Cordes was the lead, like developer slash story guy or whatever, and his brother, uh, is it Pablo? Might be Pablo. I don't remember. I think it's Pablo. So Augustin Cordes, and then his brother, I think it is, or relative, but I think it's his brother, Pablo Cordes, did the music in Scratches. So, because they, I guess, when, um, when, what do you call it? What was the original company? Anyway, when that company went out of business, and a lot of the people from that company jumped on and became part of Senscape. And so with Senscape brought over both Augustin Cordes. I think it actually might be his company, or he heads it or something anyway. And then his brother, Pablo Cordes, came over also. So they both came. So you get similar like ambient style music, but new music for this game because it's his brother who wrote the music in the original. Yeah, this must be the UK. I don't remember, but I don't even think in South America they label them WC. I think that's a European thing. I don't know about like Asia when you get far enough over or anything, but I think WC is a European thing. Netherlands, Belgium, France, England, Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, all those places use WC. That's totally a European thing. I don't think the whole North and South America, I don't think anybody calls it WC on this half of the globe, honestly. Even in South America, like I've been to Peru, and I don't remember ever seeing WC there. I might just be not remembering, but I think they were just restrooms. I don't remember what the word was, but they had an icon. They would show like a man or a woman, and I think they showed like a toilet next to it or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I think they just call it like a bathroom or a restroom or a toilet or something. They don't call it water closet. Water closet is a British term, and then it kind of translated to just WC elsewhere in Europe. Oh, um, I don't think we ever talked about Nellie Bly. Yeah. Well, so that might be, it might be just through her journalism, or it might be part of a series of other things. I don't know, but I think that's right. So Nellie basically revealed all these abuses happening at certain institutes or at a certain institute, and she revealed all the abuses and stuff. And so that's that. Again, I don't know if it was just one or a few institutes doing it, or if it was a general widespread problem. I feel like it was just a few, very few that did that. But the fact that they did that, I think, caused public outcry, and so they shut down all the institutes in general. Right? Yeah. Well, I didn't know her real name, Elizabeth Seaman. Okay, I didn't know that. Nellie Bly, I recognize her name. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's possible this is supposed to be set in the USA and they made a mistake, but I doubt it. They're pretty solid on being attentive to detail. I doubt WC is a mistake here. I'm pretty sure this is now supposed to be Britain or Europe, but probably Britain. Whereas I thought it was America before. Yeah. Well, honestly, okay, this would be the ideal place to start looking into my past and the impenetrable secrets of the Hanwell Institute. Honestly, the most famous abuses in the institute system were in America. Whether they happened elsewhere or not, the most famous abuses of that, I think, were the most publicized or whatever, were in the United States. And so because of that, most people tend to want to set them in the U.S. It kind of they kind of feel like they go hand in hand. America's past, mental institution abuse, go. He's almost, which is not a good thing to say, obviously, but it kind of is. The devs are Argentinian, I believe. Argentinian or Brazilian. WC stands for water closet, which is the British term for kind of a toilet plus a sink, but not a bath, right? We call them all in America, we either call them restrooms if they're kind of in public places, or else we call them bathrooms. We call them bathrooms in America because in America, in a house, generally, large cities like New York might have apartments that are different, but most places in America, you have a toilet and a sink in the same room as the bathtub and or shower. Usually, okay? In America, that's usually the way it works. In public places, we take away the bathtub because people don't generally shower or bathe in public, except maybe at the beach or something. But in the beach, to get the sand off and stuff, they just have showers. Anyway, so the point is, usually you just have the bathtub included in houses in America or apartments or whatever. Because of that, in public places, you don't use the bathtub, but because most houses include that, we call that a bathroom because it has the bath, but it also happens to have the toilet and the sink. So by extension, we just call it the same name. So out in public, we would usually call those, like I have to go to the bathroom, implying you have to go do business there, right? But I have to go to the bathroom. We say that. That refers to a place that might just have toilets and or urinals and sinks. That's still a bathroom, okay? However, in public places, we also have an alternate term. We say restroom. And so restroom always means there's no bath. But because of the house room being called bathroom, sometimes public places that are just toilets and sinks will also be called bathrooms. That's not the case in Europe. In Europe, a bathroom only is the room where the bath is, bath/shower. It may have a toilet and a sink as well, but it's always where the bath is. So if you're somewhere else, if there's, let's say, a house that happens to have a bathroom one place but a toilet somewhere else, or you go out into public and they just have the sink and the toilet. Those are called water closets, not restrooms there. They call them water closets. Well, that's in Britain. It's actually called water closet. Well, that WC by kind of extended into the rest of Europe. So the abbreviation WC is used all over Europe, even though in the other languages, water closet isn't what the actual translation would be. WC has become kind of the standard for non-bathroom restrooms. Yep. Well, no. Yes. You're right. You're right, Patak. In mainland Europe, it's always I have to go to the WC or the WC or whatever. In England, it's actually not the case. Well, no, it is. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing is in England, usually you have they might say I have to go to the bath. I need a bath or I have to go to the bathroom. But when they say that, that's only when they're going to a room that has a tub in it as well. It might have a toilet and a sink also, in which case it's the same room, but it must have a bath or they would not call it a bathroom. That's correct. Yep. So even in a house, if it's just a toilet and a sink, they would call it the WC. Yep. I don't even know if they still say water closet in England nowadays. I don't know if they ever use the full term or if they just say WC. Anyway. Yeah. Chamber pots or outhouses. You still sometimes have to use outhouses here and there. If you're on a work site where they're building houses or something and there are no public toilets around, you might still have to use an outhouse. But yeah, it's very uncommon in the United States. Yep, that's right. Anyway, so that's what WC is. WC is basically the bathroom, but it's no bath included. It would be just a toilet and a sink. Okay, cannot read that more closely. I thought Julia wouldn't appreciate me roaming inside these offices, so it was best to be cautious. Okay, I go here. Archives. Wonder we could look up some information there maybe if we can get in. Hey, Somni, welcome. Yeah, that exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It's like technically water closet is the term in the UK, but almost nobody says it. Exactly. That's a good point. Here's something that's an American. It's not the same place or anything, but here's kind of an American equivalent. Patak. Just bit of trivia for you. Okay. Like, do you want to go to the store? Yeah, that'd be okay. Or how are you doing? I'm okay. Or any of that kind of stuff. Okay. Comes from an early, like first half of the 19th century political campaign in America. There was, I don't remember all the specifics now. It's been a long time since I studied it, but basically there was a lot of viewed by American citizens at the time. There was a lot of kind of upheaval, a lot of like chaos kind of going on, or what people viewed as chaos. They were worried about things. It wasn't Civil War. It was before then. Anyway, people were worried about the situation in America at the time. And so you had the different candidates were saying different things. Well, there's one candidate who, and it was it McKinley? I don't remember which president it was now. It might have been McKinley. Anyway, he ended up becoming the president. Okay? But there, what, or no. Yeah, I think it was a presidential campaign. Or a very large city mayor. I don't remember which. Anyway, there was a candidate who, because everybody else was trying to say things are fine, everything's gonna be managed. This candidate basically was kind of being sarcastic, saying, "Oh yeah, everything is totally fine," Right. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. But everything's fine, right? Kind of making fun of the other candidates, pretending like there wasn't anything to worry about. So his campaign slogan, at one point, he got a thing put in the newspaper that said, all correct. So, but it's the words ALL, and then another second word, CORRECT, right? But to show that it was not fine, he had them misspelled on purpose. All was spelled with an O instead of an A, and correct was spelled with two K's, K at the beginning and K near the end. All correct, O-K. That started getting shortened to O period K period. Eventually they dropped the period, so it was just okay, was kind of an understood way of saying things aren't fine. But because it was being used sarcastically, but it was literally meaning everything is fine, everything is the way it should be, it got used, brought in, adopted into normal American speech, okay, meaning, yeah, I'm good, there's no problem. Not sarcastically. And then because America eventually had enough interactions with the rest of the world, and it's an easy enough phrase, most countries can pronounce it, and a lot of countries use the same alphabet that we use in America, because neither letter has accent marks or anything in America. It's easily moved to other countries, other languages. So okay, those two letters goes to other languages very easily. It's actually why also, although it's an alternate that's become accepted, technically the proper spelling of it is not OKAY. That's an alternate accepted secondary spelling, but technically the spelling should just be the letter O and the letter K, because it still is meant to be an acronym, although most people have forgotten what the acronym was from. Yeah. Yep. Well, in fairness, I mean, not. It depends on what we have to do, but sometimes men have to also squat without touching. Yeah, and that's hard and gross. Yep. 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 A little bit of trivia for you. It's kind of a lengthy explanation, but it's a little bit of trivia for you. Yep. And that's exactly right, Pataki. In other languages, so like in French, it's spelled O-K-E with an accent aigu, which means that E is pronounced as an A sound. In the Netherlands, how do they do that in the Netherlands? I don't remember if they spell it out or I think they just use the letters. Anyway, but technically, both are acceptable nowadays, but strictly speaking, if you want to actually use the term the way it originally was meant, it should just be the letter O and the letter K. I always use the letter O and the letter K anyway because it's just shorter to write. It's two letters instead of four, but it doesn't matter. I don't know if I can get in here or not. Let's see. Analyzing. I'm like trying to do a playthrough of this or like a demo of this, and I'm not doing any demo stuff. I'm freaking talking about random ass trivia junk. Anyway, okay, let's read this. There were many diplomas hung on the walls. I guess the staff was rather qualified. Friederike Michel, Miskatonic University. Hey! Gee, where's Miskatonic University? I feel like maybe there's some inspiration for some of the stuff in this story. I'm not quite sure where it's from, but it does sound familiar. I wonder where that's inspired from. The McNeil School of the Miskatonic University hereby certifies that blah blah blah. It's a diploma. Okay. Another Miskatonic University, Brian Connors. Did everybody graduate from? Huh. Okay. Everybody apparently graduated from the same university in the same city. Don't know what room that is. Or that. So they're not labeled. Oh, what's this? Fire extinguisher. Oh, old school, yeah. Fire extinguishers were probably decoration by now. I doubted they'd still work after all this time. Ah, here's the WC. Caroline May Bavalqua, also from Miskatonic, or graduated from Miskatonic. Okay. Yep. I know. It's so stupid. Well, thanks, Somni. Okay, let's see what's in the WC maybe. Ah! This does not look friendly and looks super gross. Sanitary installations were bathed in cold moonlight and whatever was invisible. I didn't read the last part, sorry. I was too busy commenting on the grossness of things. Ew. Those are super stained. Men's room, evidently. What intrigued me was that the women's room was nowhere to be seen. So they only had male patients, or did they make the women use this? Which, as long as they're not in at the same time, I guess is doable because there's a toilet and a toilet. Although that's out of service for repairs, which is out of service. I wasn't planning to go in anyway. Gross. Look at all the flies. Ah. The toilet didn't feel private. You think because maybe the door's missing? Perhaps a long time ago these sinks had invited you to wash your hands. Not now. Another refuse bin, garbage bin. Just your regular trash can, which unsurprisingly hadn't been emptied. See, this doesn't feel like Britain, though. Do they say trash can in Britain? I don't think they use that term, right? They either say the trash bin or they'd say a refuse bin, right? Those would be the British terms. So I feel like WC shouldn't be used here. I think this is supposed to be American. They just have the WC for some reason. They're mixing American and British vocabulary. Early Eastern European WC? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is maybe supposed to be set in America and they just messed up with WC. Or else his language. Well, if it's not, though, if this is set in Europe, like in England, let's say, then are we supposed to be an American who somehow went to this institute in Britain for some reason? Because I don't understand otherwise. Why would we say it the American way? But then, I don't know. I'm a little confused. I'll have to DM Senscape and ask him about that. Say, some of the vocabulary seems to mismatch. You use some British terms with some American terms, and I'm confused why you're doing it. Unless it gets cleared up in the course of the game. Maybe he'll explain in his past some point that he was from America or something. It was impossible to see my reflection with all the dirt. Lights didn't work here. I don't actually know if there's going to be anything else to do in the bathroom. Maybe later. All right, let's leave. Do they say recycle bin, though? What if it's like rotten food? You don't recycle rotten food. You maybe at best, take it to some kind of a, what do you call it? Well, anyway, someplace where the food can biodegrade and stuff, but that's not a recycling place. Recycling would be like plastic or metal or glass or something, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that would be like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how big your country is, but somebody in the north saying something one way and somebody in the south saying something the other way or whatever. Of course, you have a smaller country, so you don't have as drastic like vocabulary differences probably, but there are probably some bits of vocabulary on one side of the country that some people would say, but then on the other side of your country they say differently. There are probably occasionally some things like that, I would imagine. Would this be looking through, I guess, or opening the windows or something? In contrast to the opposite window, this one was stained to the point of clouding the view outside. Oh, so it's just looking outside. Yeah, okay. Alright, so let's not stay by the gross WC. Yeah, I don't know what either of these are. They're not labeled, so... A room that once had existed for stuff. Visiting room looked awfully depressive in its current state. This is a visiting room? Oh, okay. Didn't work, but not even bright light would have made this visiting room more appealing. What I assumed was an alarm button didn't work. I realized it might have been used to alert security of any troublesome inmates during visits. I see. So some busted glasses or spectacles. All right. Anyway, that's kind of my point, though. It's the same. It would be the same thing if this were all in your tongue, not in English. They weren't going to encourage visitors with this mess, although perhaps the intention was precisely to keep them away. Visitors would sit here to speak with their relatives or loved ones. Such loneliness now was heartbreaking. I cannot go farther in. Just a few ordinary tables. All things considered, rearranging the tables and cleaning up a bit wouldn't take too much time. Okay, then this goes into the next room over, which you can also enter from outside, I guess. Oh! Flashback. Please, I'm alright. This is not in my head. People are mean here. I need to leave. Record book updated. I wonder if that would have been an example of something that would have been voiced so you wouldn't have to read the subtitle. Compost. Yep, compost is what I meant. Thank you. Yep. Couldn't think of what it was called. Tasks. Remember my past. First task to start understanding my condition was to remember my past. What had happened to me at the Institute? Or what had happened to me at the Institute? Topics. Abandoned my condition. Patients being relocated. See, this is just... So this is the one. Said it was updated. With what? My condition, maybe? I'd been experiencing this for days. First, there'd been mildly annoying brief blackouts, but then I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't tell if these bizarre flashbacks were actual events that had occurred in that foul place, or just something my mind was creating. Whatever they meant, I was determined to stop them from haunting my dreams. I do think, although if you are a seasoned veteran of point and clicks in general, you know this. You learn this over time and then you realize this. But I do think if there's somebody, let's say, who loves horror games but really doesn't do point and clicks generally. It might be a useful thing to let the player know sometimes you want to click on an object more than once to get additional information from it. Because sometimes point and clicks will do that and sometimes they won't. Like sometimes you click on something once and then you click on something again and it's the same thing both times. And sometimes you click it once and then you click again and you get additional content, right? And that's not always obvious to somebody that doesn't play point and clicks a lot. So that might be something to point out to the player, just so you get a broader audience of people maybe who don't normally want to do point and click games, but would be willing to in this case because it's a horror or something. Why is the room like your class in middle school? I don't know. You had a horrible, scary class? It was a curious condition, to say the least. I'd never experienced anything of the sort, not even when I had been admitted to Hanwell. I kept wondering what triggered them. They came without warning, random flashes of past events that I witnessed, or was part of. Okay, so now we've finished getting information from there. I was done with this subject, okay? And then... So the Hanwell Mental Institute had gotten back to work all of a sudden. There was decidedly something strange about the whole situation. Right, and that's the thing, is if you're I can see, like, if you're a horror game player, I happen to be both, but if you're just a horror game player and then you've not really done point and clicks, then you go, well, like Scratches or Asylum, you're like, well, I mean, it's a point and click, which isn't my jam, but it is horror, which is my jam. So let's play it anyway. You may miss a lot of content if you don't know to click again and again and again. Almost the same, huh? I was eager to discuss this topic with other denizens of the Institute. Denizens? Really? Okay. All right. So that's it for those. And then finally, it had been surprising to stumble upon Julia in the building. Not at all what I'd been expecting. I quite enjoyed speaking with Julia. She seemed nice. Okay, and then Dr. Miller. Julia had mentioned an intriguing Dr. Miller who was somewhere in the Institute. I'd have to speak with Dr. Miller eventually. Then Bruno was the security guy. He was somewhere in the Institute. It was comforting to know there was security in the building. Until that security becomes your enemy, and then it's no longer comforting. Like if you do something that makes the security think you've gone insane, so he thinks he has to subdue you, then it's not so great. But yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I've done point and clicks for a really long time. The Broken Sword games, way back when they were first a thing, were always of interest to me. I never did play them until I played them on YouTube, though. But yeah, but there were a bunch of early, let's see, like the Lands of Lore games. Trying to remember if some of the early King's Quest games transitioned to point and click. I don't think so, right? They went from just text, mostly, with typing where you want to go or wherever, to side scrollers with text, I think, to then 3D with, anyway. Primordia, yep. Yep, Primordia was a good one, yep. And that was one I'd not played until I got here, too. Okay, so that brought me a flashback, interestingly. And this just goes back out to the main area. Okay. So now let's go to the room that was opposite that one. Oh, it's a library of some